Well, if this video is releasing, then it means at long last, I'm back in action. Last week, Hurricane Sally hit my city pretty hard, resulting in damages to my property, and at the time of recording this video, I've been without a solid internet connection for a few days now. But I did want to thank you all for your kind words over on the community tab and Twitter during all of this mess. You freelancers are sincerely appreciated. Luckily, the month of September has been pretty silent when it comes to news regarding Anthem. Though just because we haven't had too much dev interaction doesn't mean we don't have plenty to still discuss. Over on Twitter a few weeks ago, I made a post to gauge you all on your top 10 biggest questions surrounding Anthem 2.0 that haven't been answered yet. So in today's video, we're going to go over the community's most asked questions, and I really encourage you all to engage and discuss with one another in the comment section below, even if you don't usually comment on these videos. We're going to kick this list off with the number one most asked question since the news of Anthem 2.0's development began last year. Are we going to have to pay for Anthem 2.0? While we don't have an official answer yet if we're going to have to pay for Anthem 2.0 or not, we do have a Reddit post made by Caden House over on Reddit a few months ago that briefly touches on it. A Redditor 4 months ago asked, "I'd like to know if there was any truth to the rumor that we're going to have to pay for this rework. And I believe you, BioWare, said there would be more communication and transparency before and then gone completely silent. After the Schreier report, it's kind of hard to trust the majority of developers." To which Caden replied, "I haven't seen that particular rumor, but it'd be funny if it was out there. Because it's not something we're really discussing yet. We are aware of how you guys feel about it though, and it's a very understandable sentiment. When we have more to share about it, we will of course tell you guys." Now, on a personal note, I can see it going one of many ways. The first of which being, yeah, we get the thing for free. For a lot of us, we paid the full $60 to $80 price tag and got a relatively buggy game at launch. And sure, there were improvements and seasonal content updates, and while I personally feel like I got my value out of Anthem, I know a lot of you haven't. Plus, for a live service game, there hasn't been too much live service this year, and no new content really to speak of. So as a goodwill gesture, I of course would never say no to a free game update, especially a free game overhaul. Though you also have to look on the other end of the spectrum. Development time is not cheap. These guys still have to pay the bills, and BioWare and EA have to make some sort of a profit. They're a business, not a charity. Now, I would be completely fine with a small, maybe $30 quote-unquote DLC update. I'm okay with that as someone who has gotten their full value out of Anthem. Or they simply could go down the route of, hey, this is a brand new title, fork over your $60 to $80. Of all the options, I foresee that being the least likely one. BioWare and the Anthem team need to recapture their audience, and they're not going to win a lot of goodwill, if any at all, if whatever is coming will cost as much as a brand new title. As I said before, I can sympathize. Dev time isn't cheap, they have bills to pay, they're a business, I understand all of that. But I think personally, for me, in the long run, a $15 to $30 DLC would be fine, but of course getting it for free would be optimal. I don't know how their business model is or how things will work in the future with Anthem, but those are just my 2 cents. Moving on to the second most asked question, is Anthem 2.0 going to be an update to the base game or a new game altogether? Now again, I could see it going either way. Since the beginning when that Jason Schreier article released, even some of the BioWare devs were saying this is going to be a No Man's Sky-esque rework. A complete overhaul to the game, which so far from what we've seen, lines up pretty well. And I think updating the base game would show that they haven't abandoned vanilla, or they aren't trying to do a quick cash grab by making it an all-new game altogether that we have to pay for. I think that is the most optimal route to get a lot of goodwill from the community. However, on the other hand, you have to consider that Anthem was made for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and while I'm not a game developer, I can pretty safely say the game wasn't optimized too spectacularly for those consoles. And I think BioWare could really take advantage of next-gen hardware, especially ray tracing, which we were supposed to get at some point in time with Anthem, but I guess that was cancelled with Nvidia, or at least postponed after launch. If they were going to do a base game update to Anthem, I'd like to see them do something similar to what Destiny 1 did. From what I recall, when The Rise of Iron came out, Bungie more or less said, hey, if you want to play it, hop over to the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4. And by that time, most people had already made the generational leap. In that same vein, Anthem 2.0 is probably going to be in development for probably a few more years. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more players make the generational leap from Xbox One and PlayStation 4 to the Xbox X and the PlayStation 5 than we saw from the generational leap from the PS3 and the Xbox One. You get the point. Though if it was a brand new game altogether, I don't know. Personally, I would prefer to see it as a free-to-play title, kind of like the route that Destiny's going down right now, with yearly DLCs that you pay a nominal fee for, $30-$45, and of course, cosmetic-only microtransactions. I think a new game approach would technically be a clean slate. Hey, if you want to play Anthem 2.0, you gotta have an Xbox X or a PlayStation 5. But hey, if you want to keep playing vanilla Anthem, go on ahead, you can play it on your PS4 and your Xbox One X. Have at it. The next most asked question was, when will Anthem 2.0 release? While we don't have a confirmed date, given that they are in the quote-unquote hypothesis stage of development and a little ways into pre-production, I would say we've got some years ahead of us. While we don't know that for sure, I say give them all the time in the world. And the arguments of, oh, when Godfall releases, people will forget about Anthem, and oh, when Outrider releases, everyone will forget about Anthem, and oh, when the next Destiny update comes, they'll forget about Anthem. In all honesty, BioWare is playing the long game. Surely they know that their player base isn't the size that it used to be. And sure, they've got a very strong niche community, if not larger. And I know damn sure that EA is going to do some sort of marketing towards Anthem 2.0's release that will get everybody captivated again. It is the same stupid argument over and over and over again that, oh, X game's going to release and we're going to forget about this game. Borderlands 3 released, and a few months later, nobody was talking about it. And lo and behold, Warframe and Destiny 2 survived. Anyways, bottom line, moral of the story, let them take as long as they need to get the product right this time. Because I can most assuredly say, they're not going to get another chance from the community if this isn't a knockout. Our fourth question is, will our progress transfer over? And that right there is a very tricky question. I know many of us have grinded for hours upon hours, fought the loot table, battled it out against RNGesus, and managed to get that great legendary God Roll item. Though whether or not that item will make it into Anthem 2.0 remains to be seen. First of all, that's assuming that there won't be a brand new level cap. Right now the level cap is level 30. I'm sure that BioWare is going to go down some sort of route to where we have to level up again or level up another 10 levels, just like most live service games do. A prime example of this is Destiny 2. And even SWTOR, now that I think about it. Once a year in SWTOR, you get to keep your gear for a while, you get to be the top dog, and then there's the new level cap, and then you gotta regrind that gear again. That's kind of what MMOs do. And like I said before, Destiny. Every season you have to regrind your power level. And yeah, Destiny has had a lot of slip-ups with their grind, but done correctly, it's not that big a deal. Another aspect you have to consider is, there are going to be all new systems with Anthem 2.0, such as the Inscription's budgeting system, or the power budgeting system. I'll have to look back at the blog and see exactly what they called it. But even the way inscriptions work, and how power functions with weapons is going to be vastly different. And I would sincerely doubt, because I cannot imagine the complexity of this, that they're going to write some code or try and figure out how to salvage everybody's weapons and bring them over to the new system. Especially with the inscriptions. Say legendary weapons only have 3 inscriptions now, or 2 inscriptions for that matter. Well, which 2 are they going to pick from your 4 god rolls? Though, then again, on the other hand, we could potentially keep our gear and it would become invalidated anyway. I don't know, it's something to think about, but I'm not even attached to my gear, and I have well over 1,500 hours put into Anthem. Now that could be because I've gotten so disgruntled with the loot tables, but I've got a plethora of god rolls and I would be fine with saying goodbye to them. Our 5th question is, will our cosmetic items transfer over? Now BioWare, I'm telling you right now, I will go to war if my cosmetic items do not transfer over. That is a deal breaker for me. Not just because I've spent a ton of money on every single armor set in the game from the featured store, and a ton of cosmetics, a ton of emotes, a ton of materials, everything like that, but also the earned cosmetics such as the Grabbit Ears or the Indomitable Challenge armor sets. There is no way in high hell anybody is going to be okay with losing their cosmetics or not having them transfer over. If that's not a priority, that needs to be a priority. If there's something that players have paid for, or there are cosmetics that they have earned through ridiculously grindy challenges, we should be able to keep them and transfer them over. I don't think I've ever felt so strongly about something in this game before as I have with cosmetic items transferring over. Our sixth question is, will there be more Javelins? Honest to goodness, I would rather there not be more Javelins. Now hear me out. Right now with Anthem, the loot tables don't do the Javelins any justice. For instance, I still don't have a legendary Steam vent, and I've been playing the game for 1,500 hours. With the Steam vent though, I could create a build to be more focused to be a primer and detonator storm rather than just a primer or a detonator. Another example is your Colossus. Oh, it's supposed to be this big tanky, shieldy Javelin. Cool. Or if you don't have those gear attachments to make it that way, or those gear rolls to make it that way, then it can be an ordnance launcher? That's where I'm really hopeful with the skill tree system that we will hopefully learn about really soon here. For example, I would love for my Colossus to be an actual tank. You know, draw aggro, focus all the enemy fire on myself, have my big shield out, delve out supportive buffs, you name it. I would love that. But hey, what if Anchor over there wants to be a heavy ordnance Colossus? Well, she could spec for that. And on and on and on the skill trees could go, essentially creating a bunch of different roles and classes for the Javelins. We've got the 4 archetypes. We've got a slim assassin, we've got a mage, we've got the all-around, and we've got the heavy ordnance tank. Personally, for me, that fits all 4 roles. And if you're going to say healer Javelin, just toss some love over to the ranger to make it a field medic, or toss some love over to the storm to have it be the healing mage. But personally, I don't think we need another Javelin. Another reason is that is a whole nother Javelin you have to focus cosmetics for and either outsource or budget for a 5th Javelin, which then takes away more love from the other 4 Javelins. Plus, it was hard enough already for BioWare to balance the 4 Javelins in the first place. But then again, I could be pleasantly surprised. I'd love to be pleasantly surprised. But Anthem isn't Warframe. We don't need a new Javelin every year, and I think the 4 base Javelins we have right now are enough. They just need to expand on them. Our next question is, will we finally have melee only, or melee-specific weapons? Well, as some of you will recall, Christian Daly did post that sword not too long ago when he was talking about weapons. So maybe at long last we will finally get a sword, or daggers, or whatever, to where our Javelins could actually be melee-wielding badasses at long last. We're winding down with our final 3 questions, but our next question is new maps/regions, and I think that's already been answered. Christian has already said that there will be new regions, and we've been getting plenty of looks lately at the new region that houses the Pirates of Bloodwind. Plus, we haven't even begun to see what's inside that cave/giant chimera skull. And I'm sure there are plenty more regions left to come. Will we have a return to cinematic storytelling? Now, a little while ago, Christian said that they wouldn't really be able to maintain the cinematic storytelling with the way that Anthem is going right now, but they are taking a new route that he thinks will work. Now, personally, cinematics mean a lot to me. They are a huge staple of any BioWare game I have ever played. And seeing the team move away from cinematic storytelling does break my heart a little bit. Now don't get me wrong, I get it. It's a live service game. They would need to be consistently pumping out cinematics, and they are not cheap, and that's money they could invest elsewhere. Plus, not everybody is a lore/storyaholic. A lot of people are only there to loot and shoot in a cool exosuit. I get that. Play how you want to play, be the kind of player you want to be. Though I would hope that they aren't giving up on cinematics altogether, as I'm not a huge fan of how Destiny does it. Oh, you're out in the world on a mission, and you're over comms talking with one of the characters, and that's all the story interaction you get? Alright, cool. Oh, lore entries? Alright, cool. I don't know, there's just something about a cinematic that makes you feel like you're in the world, or your character is in the world engaging with these, well, NPCs. That's just my personal belief. And last but not least, we have the question of, will we have an updated character creation screen? Well, as I mentioned in a previous video, Anthem's character creation screen was not much of anything to begin with. Really, you were just picking a base face shape, as you were only ever really able to see your face if you were in one of the 4 base Javelin helmets that allowed you to open up their hoods. The rest of the helmets do not open up and you can't see your face. Honestly, I cannot see BioWare investing any sort of time into developing a better character creation screen or allowing there to be more personalization with your character. If anything, I could foresee them really driving home the point that your Javelin is your character. Though right now, I don't feel attached to my character in Anthem. Sure, I can personalize my Storm, Colossus, Ranger, Interceptor, make them look any one of 5 ways that I want. Awesome, cool, neat. I just don't feel like my character feels much like a character as it is something that just goes points and shoots and flies. That's just me though. I guess a major reason for that is because our decisions whenever we had, the 1 or 2 story option, oh, you can say this or you can say this, never really had too much of a visible impact on the world. Sure, there was the 1 or 2 instances, but nothing ever changed, nothing really mattered. And no matter what, the story would end the exact same way, regardless. But in short terms, I sincerely doubt that we're going to be getting a character creator, or even have an improvement on character creation, as I can foresee us still being in first person when we're in Fort Tarsus or in a social hub, and then third person whenever we're in our Javelins or outside of a social hub. But anyways, those are the top 10 questions that you all have been wondering, and hey, BioWare, if you're listening, these are the top 10 questions we want answered. Fingers crossed we'll hear something about all of these in the relatively near future, but until then, which ones were you the most curious about? Is there anything that you would contend with me? Let me know in the comments section below, as I really do read through all of your comments, and I will of course reply if there is conversational potential. And if you enjoyed this video and want to stay up to date on all things about your game, Anthem, especially as Anthem 2.0 keeps on ramping up in development, then please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as it really does help me out and allows me to reach plenty more freelancers just like you. I hope all of you fantastic freelancers have an absolutely phenomenal day as always, and I'm looking forward to seeing each and every last one of you in the next video very soon. And remember, freelancers, we are strong alone, but we are so much stronger together.